Next, we are joined by Jim Bask and Glen Seaman from Broadfield Distribution. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Wonderful.
How are you guys doing? How are you finding day two?
Day two is just as busy as day one.
Good. That's what we want to hear.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear.
Yes.
So let's get into this then. Let's kick off with just maybe tell our audience who is Broadfield Distribution and what are you showing off at Infocom?
Absolutely. Broadfield Distributing is a value-added distributor serving the custom integrators that are here at Infocom. We traditionally come from the broadcast space, so the NAB show. We've been doing Infocom for about 5 years, and more of our dealers are moving into the marketplace. We like to say that they'll like doing business with Broadfield because we make it easy to do business. And one of the ways we do that is by designing a master workflow where all of the products on our line card can work together. And that's the key reason why I asked Glenn to join me on the panel today, because he is our Director of Engineering who has not only made the stuff on the floor work together, but he's a resource to all of our dealers to make that stuff happen, right?
Yeah, no, that's the big thing is what we try to do is, I come in invisible, my team is invisible. When our dealers run into a situation where, hey, we're out of our element, we don't know this product, we don't know this workflow, we just come in, we get on the phone, the end user, the customer doesn't know whether we are working for the dealer or the manufacturer, we're just there as a great resource. We get involved in a lot of great conversations, and as Jim saying, one of the big things we did this year, which was really outstanding, is everything in our booth is connected. Everything in our booth is sending video, sending control, and it's a great opportunity for people to kind of walk through and say, how does this all fit together? I've looked at the spec sheets, but now I'm seeing it, this box work with that box, work with that camera, and it's really it was a great challenge, but it was really nice to see it come together.
Yes.
And it's great that you're having all those conversations, and we know the world of broadcast is exploding so quickly. So what have you seen in that world that will appeal to Pro AV integrators?
So one of the biggest things we've seen is that the Pro AV integrators are getting more involved in venues and sports production. And what we've done is set up our booth to address those different verticals. Whereas on one side of the booth, we still have the traditional corporate AV, education, house of worship, but then we have the higher end broadcast AV, venue and event production, and sports production. And Glenn, you could talk a lot more about some of those products and how they intertwine together.
Yeah, so I think what we're seeing is, obviously, what people are watching nowadays, everything is being elevated. Even what used to be a joke of YouTube, now YouTube is producing better content than some Hollywood. Yep. So this is what people are seeing, and that is asking them and making them want to do more and more and do things. So obviously, yes, we're seeing higher and higher end cameras going into corporate AV, going into boardrooms and things like that. But we're also seeing higher end workflows. We are seeing REMI, remote production, being done where, great, we've got an office in LA, we're going to do a meeting there, but all those camera feeds are going back to New York where they're doing the switching. So this is a traditional broadcast or live sports or live event workflow now being done in a corporate world. We are seeing things like, obviously IP video has been there for a bit, NDI made a big push into the corporate space, but we're starting to see things like SMPTE 2110 fit into that space as well. So we're seeing more demand. I'm starting to see requests for virtual sets and augmented reality inside of presentations. People don't want that boring PowerPoint anymore. They want to be able to stand somewhere, and now the PowerPoint slides out in front of them. That graphic chart is now a 3D element that somebody can point to and walk around. Those are the types of things, and it's just being driven by the fact that we need, we talk about this in House of Worship too, is, we are competing for mindset and eyes. It's so easy now to glance down and look at your phone, and I'm not interested in what's going on screen. So now, our corporate presentations are now trying to make sure we are making compelling, stuff that people are going to want to watch.
Absolutely. The bar to raising high quality content is now getting increasingly so high. And I think particularly if you're trying to sell high end technology and product, you can't do that on a Zoom feed.
No.
And we've all learned that for that 2 years that we were stuck behind them, right? So can you give me some, just give us some kind of examples where Pro AV workflows are coming out of broadcast needs?
Well, a Vitsa TV would be a perfect example,
right.
And also the Zoom rooms that you just mentioned. The need to elevate the production quality that is being done in a corporate AV world is a traditional application, whereas Glenn just alluded to with the AV over IP workflows, we have a large line card with over 35 different manufacturers. A lot of them incorporate NDI technology.
Yeah.
We are a huge partner with the NDI team, and now we're involved in the Dante AV workflows as well. And then there's ST2110, and we have Netgear Pro AV that is making all of this stuff intertwined and working together. And we're seeing a lot of that in this Pro AV marketplace, right?
No, it definitely. Like I said, it's one of the things that we've seen. I mentioned Remy. That's one of the biggest things where we are seeing. Not only are they not wanting to do the Zoom, they want that high quality, low latency. So we have offices now that are interconnected using either some type of SRT stream to go from office to office. So you get that low latency, high quality feed to create those contents. Again, so you have that delayed, pixelated result. We also deal a lot with the egos of CEOs that want to look great. So again, we're seeing those higher end cameras in there. I think again, touching on that same thing, the augmented reality where I've got screens coming out. So these are traditional things going into those typical AV installs.
Now CEOs don't have egos.
That's
not a thing.
Marketing guys.
Yeah, that's not a thing, right? But I mean, that does speak to the change in expectations and things like that. And so we're seeing that as I don't know if you'd call it a trend per se, but that's something that you're seeing more. Now that you're here at Infocom, can you share with us some other trends that you're seeing here that you're excited about?
So I think one of the biggest trends is making all of these different products and technologies all work together. And that's why we went with the workflow design in our booth number 3189, by the way.
Good job, you remember.
But that's why we went with that technology. You can go to the Panasonic booth and the Canon booth and see their cameras work. It's the other products on our line card that allows them to all work together to incorporate legacy equipment, broadcast equipment, with the traditional corporate AV gear. And we're using a lot of our tools to really mesh these all together, right?
Yeah, the trends that you're seeing, again, everything's coming down and coming more affordable. We had discussions with Apps and one of our manufacturers the other day about LED walls and the fact that the price to entry is becoming lower and lower and for these people, and rooms are being designed and being changed around that, so we're seeing those types of things. Some of the other things we are seeing too is just that need for folks to interact more with remote offices. Again, I've mentioned that. It's very hard to say where, for me, it's like, where does the line cross? I'm having the same conversations with broadcasters that I'm having with corporations at this point in time. So Mike, and it's been that way for a while. It's been blurring more and more. So it's almost the same conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've alluded to any visitors to your stand are going to see this convergence story. Is there anything else they can expect to see?
I have numbers. Okay. We have more than 50 hardware products running in our booth, interconnected from 18 different manufacturers. That number might be higher than 20. It keeps on adding.
Great.
I think people are dropping stuff off at this point. But I do want to reach out to all of the AV integrators that are here at Infocom to stop by, take a look at the stuff working. When Glenn and his team can have the conversations about the projects that they're running into, that's where we can help them find that solution to the puzzle.
Yeah.
Well, that's fabulous. Well, we can't thank you enough for joining us. Hopefully those numbers continue to grow as the show goes on.
Yeah, have a great show.
Just making my life harder, though.
Of course.
Drive that demand.
Well, it's always great to see how all of these worlds are blending with broadcast and AV, so we really appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it.